This is the Retro Inc. podcast. Welcome back.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Retro Inc. podcast with me, Andy, and my co-host, lovely friend, and all-round nice guy, Adam.
Bless your heart. Thank you, and welcome. How are you, mate?
I am very good, thank you, my friend. Yeah, very good.
Good.
So, how you been?
This week's show, very well, all good. I'm liking the way that the website is looking.
Yes.
So you've been very busy there.
I have, yeah. I spent a lot of time over this last week getting the website finally up and running. Went through a few iterations of it and I wasn't happy. I finally got there. I've loved what I've done, if I say so myself. Gave myself a big pat on the back, but it's finally mobile optimized as well. If anyone's found any issues with it, please do let us know. If there's any little quirks or any little problems with it, then just send us some feedback and I can sure as hell fix it quickly. But it's finally there. It's finally done. We do have, there's not much on there at the moment, but it will grow over time. I hope one day we'll get some writers on board and we can get some blog posts out and stuff like that. But as it stands now, there's a little bit about us, about what we do, why we're doing it and how we do it. There's also you can find the podcast there as well, so directly through the site, so that you don't need to go to your podcatcher. If you just want to come to our website, listen to it through that, you can. There is the homepage, which has got all of our Twitter feed on it and a little bit about us and everything, and all of our contact links there and that, so if you want to get in touch. But there's also a merchandise page, and on that we have an eBay store, and we also have our TeePublic store. Now, we're now Amazon affiliates, which is really nice. So if any of you are buying anything from Amazon and you feel like you want to help us out a little bit, just click on those links, go through there, purchase what you buy, and we get a little kickback from it. So that's really nice now. So hopefully this thing will start feeding itself.
This is the aim of it, really, at the end of the day, wasn't it? Was that we love what we talk about. We're massive nerds and geeks, but this stuff, hosting a website, does cost money, and it would really, really help us out. Not just if you could go to retroinc.co.uk and check out the website. Give us some comments as well on our Facebook page. Follow us on Instagram and obviously Twitter, of course. But
yeah, we now have a Twitter, so that's good as well. We've got the Twitter sorted out. We're at Retro Inc. Podcast, so nice and easy to remember. Just give us a follow on there, and we'll be in touch, because already having it up for just a couple of days, we're already getting retweets and likes and people communicating to us through there. So it's a great little tool to have, and we should have had it sooner. But you're right, it's we do this because we love it, but it does cost money, and we obviously want to upgrade equipment as well and things like that. So any little bit you do all helps out at the end of the day. It doesn't line my pocket. It doesn't line your pocket. It lines Retro Inc.'s pocket, and it can help us grow. And
you can email us at contact@retroinc.co.uk with your emails, and we'd love to hear from you. Whether it's just a bit of we're loving the show, or we don't like this bit, or your mic's crappy, or whatever it is. But more importantly, just send us your lists of the movies you love, the TV shows you like, and anything that you'd like us to cover would be really cool.
And that's it, isn't it? We want this to be a community thing, don't we?
Absolutely.
This was, okay, it starts with a love of two guys sitting here talking about all the things that make us, but we want people to get involved. That's how me and you met, isn't it? Through a similar avenue, a similar site, and it's a glorious thing for two people to become friends, to end up doing something like this together, and up until 2 weeks ago, never actually meeting. in person.
Yeah.
And it was all through this. And I mean, we've got friends, and I'm going to call them friends. I've never met all of them.
Absolutely.
And I've got friends all over the world, in Canada, Australia, in Ireland, and I've never met these people, but they're all met through this wonderful community of people.
We have actually
met on
spoken to them. They're not completely virtual.
yeah, exactly. We've all spoken through maybe podcasting together. I know that I've been on a podcast with Jeremy, for instance. Before I met Jeremy, I'd done something for TSW with him, and
Facebook Lives we've done.
Yeah, exactly. We've all had a good crack. We've had a good laugh. There's been arguments. There's been tears. There's been fun. But it's all good, you know. And this is what friends are. And we've all met through these communities. And please get in touch, because that's what we want. We don't want to be sitting here. I mean, to be honest, I don't want to be sitting here every week talking to you. You bore the hell out of me. But you know, I want to talk to other people. He is smiling at me through the camera. Nobody can actually see that. Yeah. But it's one of those. We want people to get in touch. I mean, like, you know, all's good. Maybe we can get some people on the show as well. You know, because that's what it's all about.
It's only when I first went to a Comic-Con that I realised there was other people with the same interests as myself, and they were the same age as myself, and then at Star Wars Celebration, and you know, I was very much into sort of medieval reenactments, and then I went to one and I was like, oh my god, there's so many people here that love this sort of thing. Now, you know, now we're doing a podcast, we've got a Facebook page, we've got Instagram, we've got Twitter, we've got the website. We'd like to get to know you guys a little bit more, and if you like what we're doing, please, you know, share our Facebook page with other people, and Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. Just help this little community grow. We're really fantastic.
Yeah, get your friends on board. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Instagram, and I'm quite active on Instagram. It's probably where I'm most active. I open Facebook because I see the notifications of people getting in touch and communicating and talking and people, but a lot of the time I'm just briefly looking at it. I hit a like button, and I actually feel quite bad doing that a lot of the time. I want to get in touch with people. Instagram's a great
love button.
Yeah, exactly. Instagram's a great place for me because I upload pictures of things I've seen, the things I've been doing. For instance, you know, last week's show with with all the arcade machines and everything I saw, it's really simple for me to do. So I just throw them up there, and we get a lot of kickback from that. And now every time we upload something, we're getting more and more followers via the Instagram. Talking about that as well, I mean, reviews is another thing. You mentioned about Facebook, how we like to have people, you know, getting in touch and stuff.
Indeed.
Reviews are also lovely. We get a lot of we get someone in particular speaks to us a lot via Podbean. We've had a couple of reviews now on Facebook. We've had a couple of reviews via iTunes. We'd like to see more, because every time we get one of those 5-star reviews on iTunes, it bumps us up through those rankings just a little bit more. So, you know, the further up there we get, the more and more people we get on board. And at the current count, I think we're near at 600 downloads.
That's fantastic.
We should hit that easily by the end of the weekend, the week. So, yeah, and I mean, especially with the next shows coming out, we'll easily be hitting that. And every time I open the statistics, we're just growing and growing. But with that, we want those people. I mean, sounds like a begging episode, isn't it? It's a bit self-promotion, this, really, because we're getting to that point now where it's all becoming worthwhile. And it really is becoming worthwhile. There's some stuff happening, there's things happening, and people are talking to us. And I said to you the other day, didn't I? Every time I open my phone and I see someone's commented and that, it's just a little bit of joy.
It gives us such a buzz. It really does. And it's, you know, we've got the usual fantastic people that do comment on our pages and send us little messages. Read the one out that you got on our Podbean.
Yeah, so
recent comment.
Yeah, so this is from Mark 018441. I think you need to change your username there, Mark. But I mean, Mark always messaged us. It had been a while since we had anything from him, but it turns out this is why. Hey guys, it's not allowing me to like your chats. So just wanted to say that this is still a very interesting podcast chat with good humour and great chemistry between you both. Keep it up, lads. Also, I'm enjoying the fun facts and all-round lightness of the conversation.
that's what we want.
That's
We want to
exactly-
keep it very light, and that's also what we want. We want more comments like that, please, that are very positive, because we really do want to shy away from anything negative on our show. There's far too much of it out there.
Stop mentioning Ready Player One then. Right.
Well, I did watch it this week because obviously it was available via digital. It's not yet out on Blu-ray release just yet, I don't think. But thoroughly enjoyed it, mate. What I want to say about the about the website is, and you've done a fab job, mate, is the retro colouring. I really like the way it looks.
Thank you, mate.
There's our little sort of blog about us. I really thought was fabulous. You've turned us into vintage card backs, and it looks really cool. I'm loving that. There's so many ways to sort of listen to the show, isn't there?
I've got to be honest, mate. When I was making that card back, you was nearly on a Barbie box, but I refrained. I thought, no.
See blonde hair.
Do you suit hair at all? I think you got more on your chin, don't you? So
the cool thing about the YouTube channel is obviously our shows on there too, so there is no way now that you can't miss.
Yeah, I'm currently working on getting it to work via Alexa. I've got to be careful when I say that. Make sure she's not turned on. But yeah, I'm trying to get us to work on there via AnyPod, and I'm exploring avenues about getting us out there a little bit further as well on other podcatchers. But as I know right now, we're available on iTunes, Podbean, and YouTube. I mean,
yeah,
and on
all bases covered.
There's 4 places you can get us there, so not a problem.
And 4 places where you can reach us with your comments and reviews.
Yeah. It's all going good, mate, at the moment. And I just ask anyone that wants to give us a little review, maybe get in touch, send us some questions, send us some feedback, anything like that. You can do. Just go to
really appreciate that.
UK. Yeah, any you go to the website, and right down at the bottom there's a contact button that will pop open your email to send straight to us. But there's also all these social links now that are just there, ready and waiting. So you can just go via any of them. But yeah, okay. So enough of the self-promotion for now. What have you been watching, mate? Anything this week?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, I did rewatch Robocop. Now, it is very cheesy. It is quite dated, and I must admit that the digital version via iTunes at $3.99 is a bargain. But Ed 209 is, I would say, 5% of what an Attack Walker looks like. Now, bearing in mind when these 2 films were made, it's the stop motion is pretty poor. I watched the full the full cut. It's extremely bloody and gory, but nevertheless, it has its moments. It has humour in it. It doesn't take itself too seriously. I know it is quite at times. It's extremely violent, but it does have a great deal of humour. It doesn't take itself too seriously. I've watched a couple of other movies, but what I did watch today was Extiction on Netflix. Plagued by the dreams of an alien invasion, a family man faces his worst nightmare when an extraterrestrial force begins exterminating Earth's inhabitants.
Every day, we go about our routines. Work, home, family. Work, home, family.
Another nightmare.
Work, home, family. Work.
Sleeping okay?
I don't understand why you won't get some help.
Because they're gonna say it's in my head.
It is just in your head.
Please wake up.
I think these dreams are the future. What if something bad is You see that? You kidding? Of course I can.
What is that? This is what you saw.
It's an invasion.
If we stay here, we die.
What's happening out there has been headed our way for a very long time.
I know what's gonna happen. I need you to trust me.
You'll be safe.
They're coming!
In your nightmares. Did you see them kill us?
So the trailer explains pretty much what's happening there. Really great sci-fi. It does remind you of a few other things, but keep an open mind. It does have that fantastic actor, Michael
Pena.
Lizzie Kaplan and Israel Broussard. It's directed by Ben Young. I don't know what else he's done, but certainly not bad at
Is this
all.
a Netflix original, is it?
It is indeed, yeah.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I did hear, I think last year Netflix said they wanted to be releasing 2 originals a week. That's amazing.
It is.
Amazing stuff. Yeah, I'll definitely have to give that a little watch because it sounds right.
It's very
up the
good.
street. Yeah.
As is also How It Ends, which is about a major mysterious disaster that turns a country into a war zone, and a young lawyer heads west with his future father-in-law, who's played by Forrest Whitaker. To go
I
and
saw the
find
trailer
his
for this. This looked pretty
fiancée.
good.
Yeah, starring Theo James and Kat Graham, and it's directed by David M. Rosenthal. Yeah, it's pretty good, mate. Worth a look, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, anything pops up sci-fi fantasy on Netflix, I'm all at it, except Ghostbusters. I've yet to watch that yet, the female cast one.
Now,
It's got nothing to do with females. I've just heard that it is very poor, and even my 12-year-old son said, "Don't watch it, Dad."
mate, it's poor. This is the thing. I've tried to watch it twice now, and I cannot get into it. My dad, I told you I speak about him quite a lot on here about how we enjoy the same things, and even he said he watched it and he just did not enjoy it. And there's some funny ladies in that movie. It's got
but they're not funny.
Chris Hemsworth in it as well, who is hilarious, and I just couldn't get into the movie, mate. Just
what a
really
shame.
didn't enjoy it. Yeah, but
So is it worth an hour and a half of my time just to go and check it out? Anyway, is the CG any good?
yeah, it's not bad. I mean, visually, it's there. It's got all the bells and whistles that it needs. It's just lacking in something. Maybe it's lacking in originality. To me, it felt like it was trying too hard to be Ghostbusters.
Right.
I honestly think that's part of the problem, is the name on the movie. I think if they'd have released this as something else and called it something else, I would have probably enjoyed it a little bit more, maybe. But
Shame.
You're living up to a name, and it doesn't do that, unfortunately. So yeah, I maybe through different eyes, it might be a good film, but for me, it really wasn't. Twice. It's not like I haven't given it a chance. I've tried twice, and I think I got up to the same spot both times and just turned it off.
What a shame.
Not through being atrocious or anything. It just didn't capture my interest. So hey ho.
A little bit of anime I can recommend is Godzilla. Last year, Godzilla was released. It's about a desperate group of young refugees who attempt to recolonize Earth 20,000 years after Godzilla took over. But one young man wants revenge above all else. And Series 2 has just hit Netflix. More of the same, to be honest, but it's rather good. I'd highly recommend that.
Anime isn't my thing, but I tell you what, I've seen that trailer and it looks stunning.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it does look. I mean, I think it's one of those that I might put that on one night and just have it on in the background while I'm editing or something. Just have the visuals there.
Well, the cool thing about this one, and it says in sort of the blurb, on Earth, Haru and his companions make contact with the indigenous Hatua tribe to defeat Godzilla. They set out for the old Mechagodzilla facility. So Series 2 looks rather good. So, and I'm going to try and start that this week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Reading wise,
I've watched a film this week.
You did, of course.
I did.
It made you cry. Did it make you cry again?
I'm not crying. You're crying. It did make me cry again. It's Real Still, mate. I posted this up on Instagram. The best 80s film not made in the 80s. Because honestly, when I watched this film, it reeks of Spielberg to me. It reeks of that 1980s nostalgia. Aside, visual effects aside, if this had been made back then, it would have done some numbers. And this is a film that I think really deserves a sequel. I don't think we're going to get one, but it really deserves it. I absolutely love it. I think it was one of these rare hidden little gems. It didn't do too well at the box office, didn't do too bad at the box office. It just kind of floated through. And I saw this on home release, and I was blown away by it. I think it's one of the nicest little movies we've had in a long, long time. It's Hugh Jackman. Who's the young boy in it? Do you know what the lad is? Because I recognise him.
Yeah, I recognise him.
Just one of those that I've never really put a name to a face and that, but he's absolutely fantastic in it. But yeah, that final scene with where he's doing the shadow boxing with Atom, it gets to me every time when the young boy's looking over and he's crying, and Evangeline Lilly's looking over, she's crying, and he's in the zone. And I sit there and I remember the first time we watched this, my wife was sitting the other side of the room. She just looked at me and went, "You all right?" And I'm like, "Yep, I'm fine." I was holding it back, but it's great, mate. It's got a nice little story. It's got the perfect father figure issues that all Spielberg films have. Yes. It's visually it's great. Watching it not last night, I was watching it last week. It's I don't think it's aged badly at all. I mean, it
looks good. It still looks good.
Yeah, it looks really good. Nice little story, so family friendly. Anything that's maybe a little bit untoward is all dealt with in a nice little manner. Really recommend Real Still if no one's seen it. If you like your 80s quaint family films, it's one for you.
A couple of films similar to that is Earth to Echo, Midnight Special, and Super 8, which is also a Spielberg and J.J. Abrams production.
Exactly, that's what I mean. You've hit the nail on the head there. They are that feel. Do you know what I mean? Those movies where there's nothing wrong with them. They're not offensive. Yeah. They're just good family fun. And emotional as well, Real Still. Yeah, I don't know if it's just me, but that really does.
No, it does. It does hit the right spot, doesn't it? It hits It really does. Talking of sequels, I got a copy of the new Thrawn book called Star Wars Thrawn Alliances by Timothy Zahn. This book basically is time for Thrawn to face his future and time for Vader to face his past. I've started already on this book. It's rather amazing, actually. I'll just read you the little blurb on this. I have sensed a disturbance in the Force, ominous words under any circumstances, but all the more so uttered by Emperor Palpatine. On Batuu, at the edge of the unknown regions, a threat of the Empire is taking root, its existence little more than just a glimmer. Its consequences are yet unknown, but it is troubling enough to the Imperial leader to warrant investigation by his most powerful agents, ruthless enforcer Lord Vader and brilliant strategist Grand Admiral Thrawn. That's what I'm going to read out, but in what seemed like a lifetime ago, General Anakin Skywalker of the Galactic Republic and Commander Mithral Naruto, officer of Chris Ascendancy, crossed paths for the very first time. And this is a very sort of personal quest, and with lots of unknown motives. It's what's fantastic about this is because they've now put these two great characters together in an alliance book, and highly advise picking up the original Thrawn novel and this one of Tool, which is, I think, RRP 20 quid, but I'm sure you can find that cheaper elsewhere.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Do you expect to see him in one of the future movies?
I think we were expecting to see him in some future movies. Indeed. But whether we do or not, that's down to those directors that decide he's worthy enough to put him in. Couple of other little books that I would recommend. One of them is called Attack of the Flickering Skeletons, more terrible old games you've probably never heard of. This book is by an author called Stuart Ashen, and it's basically it's a book about computer games that you've never really knew existed, and you probably wish you still didn't. YouTube sensation Stuart Ashen is back with his second installment of a terrible old computer games you've probably never heard of book, and it's bigger than the original book they brought out called Terrible Old Games You've Probably Never Heard of. But this second excavation of gaming's buried past will not only earthen up more appalling excuses for digital entertainment, but it features guest contributors and several special interest chapters not based around single specific games. It's a really great little book. It's quite cheap too. It's only, I think actually it's like £8 on Amazon.
Nice. Okay.
Another really great little book, paperback, is by Stephen Howlett. It's called Diary of an 80s Computer Geek, a decade of microcomputers. It pretty much is what it says on the cover. And the last one I'd recommend, if you had a ZX Spectrum, is a guide to ZX Spectrum games 1982 to 1984, a retrospective book. And it is exactly what it is. It's a retrospective review of over 200 ZX Spectrum games published between 82 and 84. And it's for all those that loved that particular machine.
Nice.
And lists all the games.
Cool stuff. And what's that one called again? Sorry, because that sounds very interesting.
Well, that is a book called, I'll just bring it back up again. It's called A Guide to ZX Spectrum Games, 1982 to 1984. It's by Retrospective Books, and it's by Sean McClure and one other person who contributed towards that book. It's available in paperback. It might even be available in hardback, but it's £10.60. The other book, which was A Diary of an 80s Computer Geek, is £3.99, all available on Amazon. And you can click on our lovely little link at the top of the retroinc.co.uk page. Now, you've got some audiobooks on your list that you are going to listen to over the next week or two, aren't you? So
yeah, I've got a massive library of audiobooks. I have the complete Hitchhiker's Guide to listen to over the next few weeks, read by Stephen Fry.
Wonderful.
So I'm very much looking forward to getting into them. I have read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy before, but not in So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, and the rest of them I've only
Restaurant
read.
at the End of the Universe.
The universe, yeah. But I've got the lot now, so I'm going to see how I fare with them. But they always have been one of my favourite little BBC TV shows, like comedies that from the past. I still enjoy them now.
Where are you downloading these from?
If I tell you that, I'd have to kill you.
Oh, I see. That arrangement. I do know.
I get them all off of Amazon via our Amazon link.
That's correct. Yeah. That's correct. They're also available on CD if you go into a shop called The Works. Now, I know most towns town centres have this chain called The Works, and usually by the desk is a audiobook section, and those are also available there at £5 each. Now I think
Oh, really?
they are indeed.
I might have to go down and just get them there, actually, at that price, to be honest with you.
They're £5 each. They've got beautiful covers, and of course they're read by Mr. Stephen Fry, which you can't go wrong with that, can you?
Not at all, mate. No. Love the guy. And in fact, I don't know if you've ever listened to the Harry Potter audiobooks, but they are probably one of the best ways to take that book in.
Yes.
Because Stephen Fry's take on those is sublime.
Well, such a great voice and reader. Anyway.
He does all the different voices, but he does it. He's very clever when he does. So, for instance, he does Hagrid, and essentially he's doing a carbon copy of Robbie Coltrane, and that's not a bad thing. You could honestly not tell the difference at points. It's when he does the characters such as Harry, Ron, and Hermione. Now, he's not being silly. When he does Hermione, he doesn't do a girl's voice. He's not being stupid. When he does McGonagall, he puts on a Scottish accent and a slight higher tone, and it works. But it's really clever. You'll have the three mains talking to each other, and somehow you know who's who. And he doesn't change his voice. It's just inflections in his tone and certain ways he delivers a line. And it's, I don't know, maybe it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, of the way that J.K. Rowling wrote those characters and the way he delivers it. But it's perfect. It's absolutely phenomenal. He just a slighter, higher pitch to his voice when he does Hermione, with a more of a regimented way of delivering the lines. And when he's doing Ron, he's very sort of laissez-faire. It's just like, bloody hell, Harry. And it's just the way he does it. It's really good. And I mean, I'm really looking forward to The Hitchhiker's Guide by him, because his Harry Potter ones are sublime.
Talking of which, the Harry Potter box set, complete collection, in paperback, is $29.99 in a beautiful box available via Amazon. But I don't know if you noticed that they've revamped all the covers for the paperbacks. They're all £4.
House sigils on them, haven't they? I believe the black cover with the bright house sigil.
They've got some beautiful covers on the new paperbacks. Really, really nice. I really like those. The artwork's beautiful. So yeah, if you've not read Harry Potter, now's the time, because
leave this podcast right now. Go get them and read them, and then come back to me afterwards, because aside from Star Wars, it's Harry Potter. All right, they're the things that matter.
What I really wanted to do was, I wanted to pick up the illustrated editions in hardcover. The Philosopher's Stone was the first one, and a beautiful looking book, really stunning. Available via Amazon at £8, 18 quid, and it's a stunning looking book, man.
Well, what's nice to see with them now is you don't get it, because we've got the movies, and the movies become such a sensation. Everything has got that movie look to it. Has got, though, Harry looks like Daniel Radcliffe.
Yes.
Ron will look like Rupert Grint, and Hermione, Emma Watson, obviously. And it's rare that you get. I mean, I've got some stuff pre-movies upstairs from Harry Potter. I've got a couple of board games, which is the original artwork, and the characters don't look anything like the characters from the movie. And unfortunately, they influence modern takes on it. And it's nice to see artwork that goes back to those basics. Like, I love the picture. I think it's in the Chamber of Secrets. There's one picture in that book of Malfoy standing with a green background in the dungeon in the Slytherin house, and it's beautiful. It's a stunning piece of artwork, and it doesn't look like I can't remember his name now. The guy who plays Malfoy. So it's really nice to see that, and that's why pick these up, especially for new readers, younger readers maybe, that haven't seen the films. It's a great way of getting into it.
Well, for kids, the illustrated editions are beautiful, aren't they? They really are.
And the movies don't impact their enjoyment of the books. I was lucky that I could differentiate the two, but I don't like seeing kids these days with something like Harry Potter being influenced heavily by the movies. You can enjoy both for two different ways, but I always implore people to read the book first before they watch the movie, because your opinion can be swayed so much from reading a book, from seeing the film before you read the book. Like for me, The Martian, I read the book first, and I was really grateful of that, because I saw Mark Watney as someone else.
Yes.
I wouldn't have been able to do it because I think Matt Damon done a great job. So if I'd have done it the other way around, it would have kind of ruined that book for me.
The other editions of Harry Potter are the Philosopher's Stone, the Gryffindor edition. Have you seen that? Where the pages are in the colour of the scarf.
No.
And there is also the Slytherin edition. So the edges of the pages are the green colour,
Yeah,
the green
nice.
sort of scarf colour. Yeah, they're beautiful editions. Really, really nice. So many ways to read the Harry Potter books.
Seriously, I've got about 10, 15 different ways in my own house of how to read the Harry Potter
In fact,
books.
I think since we got the original hardbacks, I think they've brought out much nicer books since then. To be honest.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing is, it's all about how your shelf looks as a geek, isn't it? You want nice looking bookshelves, and when you get nice looking books sitting on your shelves, they're sort of things you want to pick up time and time again. Whereas you got some tatty old paperback, it doesn't look so good, does it, with a bent spine? Always go for a hardback. If you can afford it, go for a hardback. Always read it with the
And
detail.
most of the time, mate, that's what a first edition is going to be.
Absolutely.
So, if you're into collecting first editions and that, and you've got a feeling about a book, try and grab that hardback when it first comes out, because 99% of the time that's what they are. So
Two ways of buying a hardback is obviously a glued spine and a sewn book, and there is a certain way of opening a book. Do you know how to open a book correctly?
with a really large coffee, a cigarette.
Well, there is actually a way of correctly opening a book, and this is what you do. You remove the dust jacket and you lower the first leaf down, and then which is the front of the book, the hard part of the book, and then you lower the back part down, and you work from the middle, and slowly you bring pages to the front and pages to the back until you get to the middle of the book. And now what you've essentially done is stretch the spine.
Yeah,
Now,
without breaking it.
Exactly. Now, what will happen is no matter where you hold your page will stay open. Especially good for a cookbook because you don't want that to keep closing. But on a sewn edition, that's exactly what you should do. Be very careful when you're doing that with a glued spine, but you do essentially don't want pages to fall out later on. And by stretching the spine, you're going to get a lifetime of wear out your book.
Yeah. Very much, mate.
And that's how you look after those little beauties.
See, here at Retro Inc., we don't just talk. We give information, some real knowledge. Because that is interesting, mate. I'm not just joking.
There is actually,
it's actually really interesting.
If you Google how to correctly open a book, you'd think that would seem logical, but actually you'll see there's a very, very old diagram. I think it's from like the 1930s, and it shows you how to correctly stretch the spine. Especially when you've got very, very thick, heavy books. And I've got some Marvel omnibuses that weigh a couple of kilo, and when they've got, a bound of 45 comics, they're very heavy. So you want to stretch the spine correctly. And what you should get is a nice sort of like eye hole between the spine itself and the sewn binding.
Yeah, definitely.
That's something that only a nerd would tell you.
That's a good thing as well, mate. I mean, I've like you say, I've got a couple of books, big books. I've got the Inheritance Cycle, Marco Paolini, I think it is the Aragon, and some of the Inheritance, and I think it's Brissinger. They are big books and they're hardback. So I mean, they sit looking lovely on my shelf. But it's just nice to know that there's a way of preserving them.
There is, and that is the way to do it. Always read your hardcover with your dust jacket off, because that's the other thing as well. Is you do get shelf wear on your dust jacket, and if you want
a latte,
of course, don't want to spill that on your book, do you either? Yeah. But yeah, remove your dust jacket when you're reading, and make sure you stretch your spine correctly, and your own spine.
Yeah, if you've been sitting down too long reading it, I'm always take a little break every now and again, take a bit of scenery, and yeah.
So, to sort of kind of wrap things up, we have some very exciting news. Now, this may not affect the listener at all, but we will release more information on our podcast and how it's going to be developing in the future on our next episode. Yeah. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, I've been Andy.
And I've been Adam, and we thank you very much for listening. And please do contact us via contact@retroinc.co.uk.
Retroincpodcast.co.uk.
Thank you. And if you're going to make any purchases, do go to our page and click on the Amazon affiliate link.
Do it.
Do please leave us some comments on the Facebook page, and more importantly on iTunes or Podbeam. A little review will be fantastic. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you again next time.
Bye. Thank you.